It's so hard between these three because I feel like Shax has always been a really good tracer player. Um, I feel like Shax has always had a strong tracer. It's so hard because like Tuba is also quite a strong tracer, and I feel like Kev is a really strong tracer. But right now Washington's not even using Tuba for a tracer, so I don't know. Like Tuba is like a question mark for me right now. He had a really good tracer going into playoffs, but I don't really know what to think right now for him. In terms of the rest, like it's really tough between Kev and Shax in my eyes. Like I can't choose a fifth, but it's between these two for sure. If I had to like label it 1 through 5, it'd probably be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is my 5. That's how I would rate it for me personally, at least. I think that Striker is like by far one of the best tracers I've seen in the game. I think Prophet, when Prophet's playing the game, the guy is insane on Tracer as well. Like Lip, I just watched Lip, and Lip did every fundamental thing that I would love to see from a Tracer really, really well. Yaki is able to pull off incredible things. Um, and he's very flexible as well. So like I feel like Yaki is a strong Tracer too. I think the big thing that comes into my mind why I rate it like this though is just based off of experience in OWL and like how well they've done in OWL. Like I will obviously be more biased towards the top three guys because they've been in OWL for a longer period of time compared to like Yaki and Kefster and Shax. Um, and then thinking about like big plays that they pulled off and like how consistent they've been from the start to towards the end. So but yeah, I would say this is consistently my list. To answer your question, Pencil, those are would be my top 5 tracers to be honest with you. Um, well, I'm biased because I have Shax and Trouts, and Kev is just as good at everything. Kev is good mechanically. I agree. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard between Shax and Kev because Shax has always been a really strong tracer. So like, I feel obligated to put him there because of what I've seen at least from Shax, like performance wise. Like he's always played well on tracer in tournament format. So it's hard for me to put him lower in my eyes. Oh man. Whew. Nice, nice little break. Nice conversation talking about tracer players. Omega lol. But yeah, I mean, fun stuff, fun stuff. You think I like Assassin's Tracer? It's very possible. I talked to his old coach from Runaway, which was Google Tech. I talked to Google Tech like a long time ago. And he told me like Assassin's Tracer was pretty good. Like he was really good with his timings, and that's what made Assassin really, really good. So I probably would like Assassin because again, I don't like a tracer that just uses their raw mechanics to force stuff. I like smart tracers that play it well. So like someone like Lip who has like decent mechanics and good decision making slash timing. Like I love those kind of players because they just utilize everything together to become like make the best opportunities and make it's so hard to play around something like that. It's crazy. My bad. It's all good, man. I mean, you never know. Like I saw some of it his tracer from the runaway times because Google Tech showed me like some stuff from their matches because he had the replay codes from it. But I don't know. I don't know what it's like now from Assassin's Tracer. Like maybe it's different in Washington. I have no idea. But like I said, Decay has been just playing Tracer everywhere, so I don't know what to really expect Tracer wise. But they have strong Tracer players on that team for sure. So I'm curious to see if it becomes like more more of a Tracer hit scan meta. Who's gonna play? Is Jerry gonna play? Is Decay gonna ever sit out? Is it just gonna be like maybe Decay? Maybe it'll be Decay Assassin. I don't know. We'll have to see. Decay is just Korean Kev, to be honest. Or is Kev EU Decay? Interesting. Who came first? Decay or Kev? The egg or the chicken? Thinking. I'm just joking. What is your opinion on Kevster as a player? I think Kevster is mechanically one of the strongest players I've ever seen in the game. Every time I talk to players about Kevster, they tell me the same thing in ranked, where it's like the guy just doesn't miss. Like the guy is incredible in ranked. He just carries every ranked game. Like he has great, insane decision making. Like some of the decisions he even makes like relies on the fact that he has a very high skill cap with his mechanic. Excuse me, with his mechanics. So I think Kevster's an incredible player. Only thing I'm gonna tell you is I think that Kevster is very much a game sense oriented player. I feel like what makes him so good is he has incredible game sense. But I think what makes Kev a little bit weaker, from what I heard talking with people that have experience working with him. Again, I haven't talked to anyone that's worked with him, and that's a lie. I've talked to Faustus a little bit about Kev. I asked his opinion about him, but from talking with people from before, like way before as well, like Kev is more of a quiet guy. So to me, he reminds me of Sugar Free in that sense, where he's a really quiet guy. He has great game sense, great mechanics, but you need him to open up to be more vocal. Is the first thing that I would say, and the second thing for me for Kev is to for him to reach his potential even more. Is I expect for him to I want him to kind of increase, like, be able to understand concepts. And I'm not saying Kev's a dumb person. I think Kev's just, like I said, a really smart player. He has incredible game sense, but it's just from my experience, like most players that are quiet and have high game sense, when you ask them to sit down and explain thought processes to you or explain why something's good, explain the why behind everything, they're kind of a little bit more, I don't want to say skeptical, but they're not able to explain the why because they just know it's good from experience. They don't know why it is, they just know. And to me, I think that's something that could help him be more confident with vocalness and it could open up his horizons a lot more. Move the camera back to the bottom left side here. But yeah, that's just me though. So I think Kepster is a player that has incredible potential. Same as Mir. I think Mir is fucking nuts at the game. And I'm hoping that he gets some playtime on Glads because I think that kid has incredible potential. And I'd love to see him get developed a little bit more. Oh, this is the wrong one. Oopsies. This is the one that I want to look for. There we go. Mayhem vs Chengdu. All right. Wait, knowledge and game sense aren't the same? Interesting. Um, that kind of sounds like me, Buck. Dude, you could gap someone in ranked? All right, let's see, bud. I'm curious now about these VODs. Let me see them. Let me see them. Um, so this is how I'd explain it to you, Pencil, because this is how I view it, right? There's obviously like there's knowledge, right? And there's game sense. So this is what I'll say. A lot of people can think the same as you, where it's like knowledge equals having really good game sense. I'll break that for you right now. So n knowledge is being able to understand. To me, at least, this is what it means. Knowledge is being able to understand and be able to actually conceptually explain your thoughts and understand why something is actually really, really good or vice versa, or the overall big picture of it, right? Whether that's knowing why a composition is good to run, knowing how to get the most value out of your character, knowing why you went for certain decisions over others in a lot of situations for during a fight, right? Triggers that you look for, patterns, stuff like that. But being able to explain and like kind of have that logical mindset. Game sense, on the other hand, is more so you see something happen, right? And you know in game, it doesn't mean that you understand what's happening in front of you. It doesn't mean that you have something explained, right? Game sense just means I know this is the right action to do, or I've seen this happen lots of times. If this person does this, I do this, and that's kind of just it. So a good example that I would give is Let me think of a good example. Do you know what? I'll use this example. Like, say that we are playing Brawl, right? And my Kree consistently goes for flanks in the Brawl meta. That just happened recently, right? And I asked my Kree player, for example, why do you go for a flank, right? I assume the answer is, well, my front line's engaging, they're going first tempo, I'm gonna wrap around, go second tempo, I'll be able to catch someone off guard, um, and potentially get a kill. Or I saw the D.Va, like D.Va kind of went back. I know that everyone is stacked up as a team. I kind of go from there. However, game sense wise would be something more along the lines of, well, I saw someone on right hand side, let's say D.Va. I saw D.Va on the right hand side fly to the back to his team, so I just go for the flank because I she just flew back to the team. I just know she doesn't have fly, so I just go to the team because I know she can't kill me. That is the game sense thing because you didn't explain. There's so much other things that you're missing a part of the game, right? That could have shut down your flank. You're basing it off of one thing, a gut feeling because of something, a pattern you see, right? But like I said, there's more to that decision than meets the eye. So game sense is kind of a way that the mind utilizes, like you said, patterns and seeing that kind of stuff, but as a way, I don't want to say like dumbing it down, but making it simpler so that you could kind of just go, okay, like I know if they do this, like I can do this, or vice versa. So it's just like game sense is more so you're able to kind of do it brainlessly because you've seen it so many times or something like that. Knowledge is like you can explain it, you have the logic behind it, the theory, the concept, etc. I'm a good example of this as well because let's say like let's talk about it now, right? Like you guys are watching the stream hoping to learn some stuff, improve your knowledge about the game, right? Um, and I would hope that the people in the stream feel that I am quite knowledgeable. So I have good knowledge about the game. I understand it at a pretty decent level. You know, I can explain thoughts or how people are thinking a lot of the times or why something's good. But then I go to play the game. My game sense, no, does not exist. I go to try to play the game, and then I know some things, right? I'm smart about how to approach it, but then I'll see patterns or things in the game, and my brain doesn't register. Like, my brain is just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna still do this action. Even though I know it's probably the wrong action if I were to review it and be like, okay, I know this is wrong. I know this is bad.
Hello there.
I would probably still do it because I just don't have that game sense, but I do have the knowledge. So hopefully that makes sense, Pencil. But Buck, thank you for the follow. I'm surprised that you weren't following before, but hey, man, that's fine, Buck. You can ego me up until this point. That's fine. Kage, just so you know, followed me a while ago, so yeah, shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. I sent you two codes, couldn't find the third. Yeah, okay. Might be a slight when I said Kappa when I said I capped him. Yeah, okay, okay. There you go. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Uh, Happy to apply the thought process pencil. Again, don't have the game sense, so gotta use the knowledge in the brain in some way to give you guys something. Okay, is that Chengdu Hunters? I'm gonna be on that team. I thought I followed you since before SMC. Ah, shake my head, Buck. What the heck, man? What the heck, man? But yeah, Chengdu Hunters. That is Doge's dream to join the Chengdu Hunters. I got a venti green tea mocha latte from Starbucks. It tastes so good. It's kind of cold now though. I'm kind of sad, but it's so good. All right. It's a hot drink though. What I got was a hot drink, not a cold drink. Doge. So, drank coffee 3 times in my life. Well, do you know what? I was really tired, so I got a coffee. I'm like hooked on coffee right now. Not gonna lie. So I'm just waiting for myself to collapse after this stream because I'm very tired. I haven't slept that well the last few days. But anyhow, um, looking at the compositions here, right, we see that hunters have decided to go with a rhyme-based composition. They're running something similar, I would have to say, Doge, right? If this looks familiar, it should, because we ran this in our first month of contenders, this exact composition. So we have kind of a mirror. The only difference is like we kind of experimented with Sig as well. They're just running Zarya. And Mayhem is coming out with a full counter. So I didn't really watch, like I said, a lot of APAC, to be honest with you, just because it was so late. Having work and such made it so hard for me to watch APAC, as well as having to try to wake up in the morning early. And it was hard for me to find the time to watch any of the APAC matches. But overall, from what it seems, looking at some of these compositions from Hunters and talking with people after, like in between my VOD series, it feels as if Chengdu has just not changed their playstyle at all from what they ran before qualifying for this. And I saw Gravy actually talk about it a little bit when he was reviewing. I think it was Chengdu versus Dallas. And he said this exact words, which was, I understand confidence in what you're running and running to your strengths, but at some point you need to catch up with the meta and you also have to be ready for potential counter comping, right? And right now, like that's exactly what Mayhem did in this situation right here, right? You look at the composition, Mayhem's running the exact counter to Hunter's comp. A ball, Diva, Pharah, Kree, Anna. Kree is kind of 50-50. I would say like a Sombra or a Tracer might be a little bit better. But realistically, they're still running like the rest of those characters 100% hard counter. And I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, I don't see these guys going this way. But I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go to the right. So, but damn, dude, like fucking Hunters. I'm hoping that they adapt in the series a little bit more. Do you think they can make heat resistant ice cubes? Maybe in a few years, Doge. I have shift at gym now. Good luck, sir. Good night, Doge. I will talk to you tomorrow for your one-on-one. Make sure you have a good time at the gym. Enjoy yourself, my friend. Kind of want to quickly see what's my. Do I have a key for pause and unpause? Let's see real quick. Jump. Oh, that's movement. I want to look at replays. There we go. Speed. Jump to start. Nah, there's nothing for pause, and that's unfortunate. All right, we're gonna look at this at 0.75 again. I'm also gonna sneeze real quick. Ugh. Trying to see if I have one more sneeze in me. All right, we're good. I don't have one more sneeze in me. Whew. Oh man, I don't know why. That sneeze actually kind of hurt a little bit, but. Whew. Okay, let's see here. Thank you, by the way, Buck. I know you would have said this verbally to me, but thank you for saying it in chat. Okay. Overall, we see that hunters were playing specifically to go for White Room. They saw the counter comp. They do decide to adjust their comp a little bit here. We're seeing the legs locked in. Okay. Okay. Gangnam did go towards the outside, so they were playing quite well to counteract that brawl. Where's BQB right now? He's up top. They like were fully playing to counter this brawl. They're still kind of playing to counter this brawl. Like this is still brawl from hunters. So like I'm surprised that Gaga isn't going something different here. Like they're still committing to the Rhyme. Like I just don't understand, why do you commit to Rhyme if you're playing Soldier here? Why not commit to something else? Like why not just commit to like Ball Sigma or like something like that, right? I just don't understand it. I don't get this. I understand the Sombra pick. The Soldier pick I would presume is for the Pharah. Point unlocks here. OGE should be touching the point here, but Gargoyle is going to be touching it instead. Okay. Leave. Slime instantly goes down to leave. I guess he hit a few shots. Maybe a rocket off terrain. Okay. Like, pretty much here, the thing I'll say is Mayhem still has some pretty good angles here. Ball and Tracer can contest this point for quite a long time, unless Jinmu's able to get a hack on one of them and they can burst them down. BQB, like, I don't know why Nisha is going for the duel against BQB here. BQB, if he has flash, he can win that. Nisha's now 2 pars. Okay, OGE goes down, trying to delay the point a little bit. Mayhem is forced to get out here, and a lot of this comes down to they weren't able to delay the point long enough. Pharaoh wasn't able to put as much pressure down because Slime ended up going down, so Yaki had to change it up. We see a full-on swap now by Mayhem. If I had to guess, Mayhem's going to go a hard brawl here. Yaki's going to switch to this Mei. Gangnam's going back. It's all about, I'm curious to see what Yaki goes for. It should be the Mei, though. The Mei does get locked in. Now they're going hard brawl against the softer brawl from Hunters. Hunters is kind of playing an awkward comp now. If I'm Hunters, I'm just trying to surround them with my brawl and use Gaga as bait so that Jinmu and Leave could potentially get a lot of damage down on the side. If I'm Mayhem, I'm trying to isolate these guys with a wall, specifically Gaga or Elsa in these tight areas. I just want to move as a 6-man. Jinmu missed his timing in terms of farming there. He uncloaks. Again, he misses it. Even though Gangnam has gotten hacked, these guys aren't doing anything. They don't want to force the fight, right? So even though Jinmu got the hack, he should have been focusing on farming. Why? Well, it's simple. Because they're not going to go for the engagement here, right? They're going to focus on kiting, waiting for an ult to come up, and then going. So maybe if they had window, they would have used window. Maybe EMP, they would have used EMP, right? Maybe if they had visor, Soldier would have flanked, and the rest of them would have still been kiting so that he could get a value, visor or something, right? But they're consistent kiting, waiting for an ult to come up, and then utilizing that ult to potentially win the fight. Because they won first fight, they have the ult advantage, but they do not have the neutral advantage. They lose because of the Mei, specifically. Gray also brings a lot to the table there. Okay. I'm going to wait till this goes off, and I saw your question, Pencil, and I will get to it, I promise you. But just want to look at this first. Window goes down. They utilize the wall and their lamp. Not a fan of wall and lamp. Gargoyle BQB go towards the side. Nisha was forced to hide on the right side from the Noon, and it looks like Mayhem's just going to walk forward and walk right onto Hunters. Nothing Hunters can do to repel that. The only thing they could have done was utilize that window, which they did. They don't have a beat in time to absorb. They don't have an EMP to absorb, right? They have no ultimates to absorb the aggression. The Mei is coming out huge there. First thing is, there a way to improve your game sense? Or one last thing, is there a way to improve your game sense knowledge? I feel is easier, get better at through breaking down your play and foughting, but for some reason, for some, I feel need more than just time to get better at game sense. Maybe I'm wrong. This is what I'll say. Like talking about game sense, talking about knowledge, I agree. You can improve your knowledge. So the hope is this: by improving your knowledge, you're able to utilize the patterns and things that you see issues with your play, or things that you see that you can exploit from other people, or you understand about your hero to better improve your play. And that will go into your game sense, because the more that you do what you notice, or try to apply. And again, this is why coaches really try to tell players, push things to your limits, try things. Don't just be okay with what you're doing. Try to go above, even more above and beyond, is because through that and through repetition, players will learn more, and that will apply to their game sense, right? Their natural, just like natural game sense, and they don't have to explain anything. They'll just know because they've tried it and it's worked out really well. That's where experimentation comes in really, really clutch. But I would say, like, the thing with game sense to improve it is you just need to apply, in terms of improving your minds and the practice that you went into improving your mind, you need to apply that to your play now next. And that doesn't mean grinding out comp. That means applying your thoughts to the game. So that means maybe thinking through your decisions a little bit more, looking for a key thing. Something that I would say is a good way to improve game sense is this. And you'll see that players have done this before, or coaches probably has done something similar to this, but a flow chart is the best way. So you saw maybe on competitive Reddit or something, there was like a flow chart of like on monkey, like when do you jump or like how do you do like know what you do, like what action you do, like those kind of flow charts. Doing a straightforward flowchart kind of like that, like a very simplified flowchart, helps you improve your game sense because you're putting your knowledge into the game sense. So like you see an action get made, you know that you have to do this action in response or something like that. And then you could go into deeper and you could understand why you have to do that action, or you could just, this is where game sense comes in where it's like you could just know by them doing an action like that or by you having this advantage, this is the best option that you should go for next, etc. Obviously, there's little things that could change those decisions, like tiny details, but you want a good overall basis. In Counter-Strike and Valorant, and I'm mainly speaking from Valorant perspective because I coached it a little bit back in beta, and I've watched it, and I have some friends that are pro in Valorant, right? Either in NA, Europe, or Australia. And talking with all of them, they said a big thing that CS coaches taught their players, or that players kind of brought over from CS, was a flowchart. They had like, well, if X happens, then you do A, or if X happens and then Y happens, you do B. Overwatch is obviously a lot faster tempo, but there's still some basic decisions that happen in Overwatch, right? Which you can do for a flow, like a flow chart in a way where it's like, let's use EMP for example, right? Okay, well, if for example, let's say you're playing against Lucio. Lucio has beat, right? You hold EMP until after beat, right? Or Lucio doesn't have beat, then you EMP, right? Yes. If he has beat, hold, right? Like something simple like that. So that's something that you know will always happen. That's a basic thing. And you know why. Like you can explain that and say, okay, well, you do this, you hold it because you can deny it so that the Lucio feels like he can never beat. And you can EMP the beat off and wipe the whole beat so it gets no value, right? Like, again, little things like that. So it's a big thing where you have to understand like having a flowchart helps improve that game sense because you can apply the knowledge into your decision making because it directly impacts your decision making. So hopefully that's like a good tool that you could utilize to help yourself. It's a tool that I myself as a coach utilize to help players improve on aspects or improve their thought process decision making because I can help them kind of visualize that and see it and understand that there's a good thing. Like for example, I didn't talk about this with Lips Tracer POV, which I kind of forgot and I should have talked about it. For example, using one of my players, Cloud, right? When I talked to him about Tracer, I talked about, okay, well, there's like four key decisions that you can do in the monkey mirror, right? You got A, B, C, and D, and pretty much what it is A is blah, blah, blah. What was I gonna say? A is you can pressure the front line, right? All right, well, that is getting hard removed. Timeout. Ban, goodbye. Easiest ban of my life. Goodbye, person. He's already famous, I don't know. Well, oops, wrong color. But like I said, you can pressure the front line, right? You can dual tracer. You can pressure the back line, which is like diving supports or anything like that. And pressuring front line is like just shooting monkey or shooting a diva, something like that, right? Man, my writing is atrocious. This is terrible. And the last one is pressure the objective, like cart, point, whatever it is. Like that to me are in the bare bones the four examples that you can do on Tracer, right? And that's a flowchart that I gave to Cloud. And I said, you need to understand. And when we looked at his play, he was like, I feel like I'm inconsistent on Tracer. Like, I want to be more consistent. And when I broke down this decision making, we watched back his VOD. And it was funny because the reason and it was super funny because he said, I feel like attack is easier than defense. And when we went through it, the reason why is because on defense, he always tried to pressure the backline, similar to Lip. He always tried to pressure backline. But the worst part was he went first tempo when he did that. Sometimes it wasn't in the best positions he could be in. Sometimes there was something else he could have done, like he could have stopped the objective, right? Or he could have dueled the tracer, or he could have pressured frontline at the start or something like that, right? Or hold some sort of space to deny, right? And then make these options easier. And then on defense or on attack, sorry, he only pressured the objective. So he pressured the objective and then made a decision from there. So by forcing the objective, he was able to force the enemy to move and make an easier decision. So then when we watched it, he was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I pressured the backline. And on attack, I didn't realize I used the objective every single time to help me make a better decision. I'm like, yeah. So what you need to do is you need to look through your decisions in front of you and you need to think about, well, should I always pressure the backline? Maybe I start with the front line and then I'll go to the back line, or maybe I start with front line, then I go to point, or maybe I go to point and then I try to do something else, right? There's always a decision to make that you should do, and you should think about these decisions. And again, these are the bare bone decisions that you make. Obviously, there's windows that you have to get used to in terms of like short windows, like I talked about with when I was saying with Lip, the timing, like you want to go second tempo, but there's also slight windows where you have 2 seconds to react to the decision. If you don't make the decision by then you've lost that opportunity to make maybe a really impactful decision, right? So you got to know, you got to be able to identify those, and you got to know if you should take that decision, right? So again, like things like that, making it easier to digest that stuff to players for game sense wise is what makes those players better in my eyes. And talking to a lot of players, again, they put good players. So I'll use Seeker as an example on Kree, or like even Kevster or stuff like that. Game sense is so high because they see one thing happen and they're like, well, I know if this happens and I do this action. They already made a flowchart in their head of what to do. So by having that flowchart kind of at your discretion and utilizing that more, it's super easy to be able to get that game sense up to speed. Again, the knowledge is only there so you can make that flowchart so you can be a stronger player. But yeah, like I said, I should have kind of talked about that when I was talking decision making with Lip specifically. That's kind of my bad for not opening up with that. I meant to talk about it based off of seeing the different decisions that Lip made, but Lip only made pretty much like consistently one decision, so I didn't get to talk about it. But hopefully that helps. Very informative. Thank you. Thumbs up. As long as it's informative and helpful, I'm happy. All right. Going back to this fight where Mayhem absolutely rolled over Hunters because they have a May and Hunters do not. Excuse me. Hunters again, they need to understand that their comp has a Sombra. They have no Mei, so they have to consistently kite, wait for the Sombra to potentially have an EMP. Again, they have window that they could have utilized too for the pressure. They tried to, couldn't get anything done. If you looked at Jinmu's perspective as well in that fight, Jinmu was all the way in the back. He's not able to influence the fight very well. Let us see. All right. Finish up my coffee there. Okay, window goes down by Gangnam here. BQB is looking to set up, it looks like, on the high ground. Leave is looking to try to pincer over here. I'm enjoying that none of them are playing on point. It's either they scouted this out or they knew something like this could happen. May and Ryan are playing towards this choke. They know that they can play here because they won't get punished or capitalized from holding this area, right? They have wall advantage, the other team does not. They're looking to play really, really aggressive here. I would prefer to have Slime go this way, honestly, but it seemed like he was trying to speed BQB up on the high ground. All you have to do if you're Mayhem, like, you can go for a bit of an aggressive push here and just wall off this way or something, but utilize the window for sure, and then have BQB just flank up here and kill Leave. If I'm Gangnam, I'm safe because I still have a lamp. And if Leave decides to drop, he's dropping into a window. Okay, he flanks around to try to kill Gangnam. BQB instead decides to play by the window. Shatter lands on Elsa, but no one else. Gargoyle has bombs, so this isn't as dangerous. If Visor's going out. Visor isn't going to land on anybody. Huge shatter lands onto 3. I believe 3, or sorry, 5. I believe all 5 of those guys were also EMP'd. It's gonna force the win for Hunters. So good EMP shatter combo. Sad part is sadly Slime wasn't isolated enough there to be able to beat in response. I would have hoped that he would have honestly hid. If he wasn't going to go push up aggressively there, I would have hoped that he would have just played towards dark and hid. And then once they gone for that EMP, he peeks out with his beat. I don't think he had to be present in that fight. Other thing I'll say is it seemed like Mayhem had different ideas of what they wanted to do. BQB kind of going off on his own again. He could have just played with the window. Maybe they would have been able to get a quick kill with the frontline aggression that they were doing there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I kind of want to bring up. Not really. Jimmu now switches over to that Junkrat again. Leave is still on this Tracer. So I'm expecting for Mayhem to go for an aggressive play with hopefully either beat and bomb or just with the May ult and then hold the rest of your ults. Let's see what they end up doing. Okay. Jimmu on, by the way, on the Junkrat is going to, he shouldn't play main. He should try to go for an off angle. Right now it looks like he's kind of off angling from his team. Okay, Mayhem does not go for the Blizzard. Instead, they're going for the Noon. They isolate Gaga with the wall. Goodbye, Gaga. Blizzard is able to land and at least hit Gaga. It doesn't hit anybody else. Florida is using a ton of ults here though, compared to Chengdu, who've only utilized 2 here, right? Florida utilizing 4. At this point, even if Florida wins this fight, you look at the point percentage, right? 99 to 44. Hunters have the time to build up their ult economy, and they should be able to out-alt Mayhem in future fight. I believe they still have 2 fights here as well, so this should work out in favor of Chengdu, as long as they take this first fight before 65%. Okay, Leave decides to go Sim now again. I'm surprised I'm not really surprised no mate's coming out. Okay, Mayhem understand that they're low on ults, so they're going for a very aggressive window fire strike to try to catch Chengdu off guard. Jimmu goes down. That could have been an incredibly... Leave tries to TP behind. The rest of them kind of kite back towards the TP. They're able to kill Leave as well and Jimmu. They will be having a Shatter and a Bomb coming up. This is last fight. OGE is the only one with Shatter, but again, that came to a fight where it could have been super impactful. Sorry. But what ends up happening instead is the fight instantly ends. Hunters didn't have the time to build any ults up. Fantastically huge shatter from OGE. Fucking great timing from him. I gotta watch back and make sure that wasn't a stun by BQB. Where BQB in this? Did he hit a stun? Or was that just OGE being a Chad with the shatter here? Oh, it was a stun into shatter actually. Woo! Great combo actually by Mayhem there. Again, playing really aggressively on this corner as well. Beautiful. They had to hit that shatter in order to win the fight there. Hitting that shatter secures the fight win for them. See ya, Chengdu. I would have loved to see, honestly, Leave go on the McCree instead of going to the Sim there. I feel like he would have gotten a little bit more value on Cree, but is what it is. What are you going to do? Okay, Hunters are going to go out with